QueenTitiLoves. Today, you guys know it's probably a Sunday, and so I need to get ready to go down to the radio station and record with my friend. So let's get into it. Okay, let's get started. So today I'm going to do a quick soft look. I like to not have these shiny places when like I'm on camera or anything, or just in my everyday life actually. But I don't really like looking like I have on makeup. I like looking like myself. I don't know why I have some daggone phobia about somebody gonna see me in public and be like, you do not look like you look on camera, okay? So that's why I always start out with like a blank face and all of that. And I don't have no problem putting my hair back, recording when I don't have my hair done, stuff like that. Anyway, that's my issue. Everybody got an issue. So today I have a visitor on my face. I actually already applied my lip gloss, so we can get started. So today is going to be about forgiveness, right? So forgiveness, I've noticed that with forgiveness, it's like some people can't forgive themselves. So then they can't believe somebody else forgave them. Ooh, if this was right here, this would be so awesome. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. All right. So with forgiveness, what I have been realizing with some people is that, so beneficially and a huge blessing, I'm around people. Now I know I talk about the people that I'm around like they are just the most amazing things ever. Low key, like don't be hating, because they really are. And here's the reason why though, because a lot of us that had problems when we were younger or had adversities that we faced, not necessarily problems, right? Because we could turn a mountain into a molehill real quick, can't we? We had a lot of positive influence around us too. So when we identified, hey, I noticed that this is not okay, I really don't want to be like this, like we did the work, even younger, we did the work to try to, I don't know if I could say balance it out, but try to address it and work through it. And like I told you guys, I know people that have been on drugs before, their parents was on drugs, pimps, prostitutes, all kind of things, right? Because people have various walks of life. I need to scoot back and get this primer. Do various walks of life. But what we didn't do is we held ourselves accountable, right? So it was more like with us, let me take out my nose ring. With us, it was like, let's not dwell on it. What are we gonna do to fix it? When I grow up, I'm never gonna do this, even though never is a strong word. I'm not saying use the word never, because baby, see, never's been caught up on me, that I didn't really think ever was gonna happen. But this is life. But we really took the time to like look at other people's situations that shared their situations with us and stuff like that, and like listen. We really listened to our elders. We listened to our elders, the ones right before us. We had like big sisters that, you know, may have been on varsity cheer when we was on freshman cheer, stuff like that. But we took the opportunities to want more. I will even attribute some of that to like the TV shows that we had. One that was really big for us, well, two, I can say two, was like Different World. And then when we got a little bit older, Living Single was kind of big, right? Because, well, not kind of big, it was huge. And it still is today. I was watching it this morning. It showed, that to me was like reality TV. Like, there was an entrepreneur on the show, a lawyer, somebody pursuing acting, a handyman, Wall Street, like all of these different things existed within one circle, which is really what life is like. And all of them were happy, could chill out together, learn from each other, stuff like that, right? So we had those type of shows to look forward to, where it was like real people doing real things. I probably shouldn't have mixed that foundation because I need to do my eyebrows first. I'll put that to the side and hopefully like it'll activate, thicken up, do something. What's behind me? Making sure ain't no cuts and stuff. Okay. But we utilize those shows to like motivate us. Like, oh, my life ain't gonna be like this. I'm gonna do everything I can to make it better, right? So with that, we wasn't hard on our parents in that way, because it was reality, right? Just like on Living Single, they wasn't hard on their parents. On Different World, everybody wasn't Whitley, right? Everybody had a different path, but guess what? They're all in the same place. And I think that was really important about those shows, is to show that it doesn't matter where you come from. You can struggle the same as anybody else, even if you come from, you know, a very financially fit background. That's not all it takes, because somebody has to be able to be strong enough, responsible enough, disciplined enough to maintain it, right? And then equally the same, just because you didn't come from having anything doesn't mean you don't know how to value and build something bigger, right? So I have found that with those type of people that I have been around, it was like we forgave our parents. We forgave. My allergies have been killing me, and I know why, because I ate a crab leg and I'm allergic to seafood now. However, I'm gonna still eat it. I'm just gonna be itching or asleep because I took a Benadryl, but I digress. We forgave our parents, right? We didn't rebel like, oh, they're doing this and this wrong. Because they did this, I'm not going to go to college or better myself. I'll show them. No, it was more like we still valued our parents. We still valued our parents and what they brought to the table, and kudos for doing the best you can, and kudos for working together like a village to try to make it better. Where in those areas where you identify you're not the strongest, other parents, leaders, and so on would kick in. Why do I think that has anything to do with forgiveness? It does. Here's the reason why. If you learn forgiveness of the people that are around you coming up, and those that you feel owe you something, which they kind of do, because we didn't ask to be here as kids, but it's not going to be perfect, right? If you can forgive others and you see what forgiveness looks like, and correcting in love and things like that, then it's easier for you to forgive yourself, because you know that it really does exist. You know what forgiveness looks like, and versus blame. That's where it comes in. If you're accustomed to being blamed for something, or somebody is trying to get you back for making a mistake, or your goal was to try to get your parents back, which I have seen, like people. I'm sure you've heard it, like when people be like, oh, when I get older, my mom or my dad is going in an old folks home, or if something ever happened to my dad or mom, you know, whichever one if you don't happen to get along with them, I'm not going to be there for them. I'm going to show them. That type of behavior, that really exists, right? So if you can learn to forgive other people, it really helps you to forgive yourself as well, because generally the issues that we have when we get a little bit older, they did come from the things that we experienced, were exposed to, whether intended or unintended. It still happened, right? My eyebrows look like Bushwick Bill. Let's fix that quick. So let me share a story with you about forgiveness. And I think this was a turning point for me to actually start forgiving myself and stop being so hard on myself as well. Still a work in progress. But when my dad passed away, I wasn't sad. I wasn't sad for like normal reasons or everyday reasons. I was sad because it was like, dang, like he really went all the way to the grave without making it right with his kids, you know? That was sad to me. That I feel like that was something that was stolen from me and my sister the most. Me and my sister from my mom the most, because, you know, we got the short end of the stick, like a lot. So anyway, that's where I felt bad. Where I used that opportunity to grow was my stepmom didn't do the best things as it related to being a stepmom, right? Because I have forgiven her, I don't really want to go into the details of those because I don't want to put a bad picture out there about her. Is it true? Yes, but I just have a level of respect for her that's different now. And this is the reason why. So the exact day that my dad died, when I got the call, I got in the car and me and my sister went to his house. In 20 plus years, that was the first time I had ever been to his house. I never been to his house. I wasn't invited. I didn't feel welcome. And he had been there since, I believe I was in high school, my later years in high school, but I wasn't there. So when I went in, talking about respect, and my sister posted something, my older sister posted something today about respecting elders no matter what. So when I walked into her house, my grandmother was there. I spoke to her and I hugged her. I hadn't seen her in 20 plus years. And before I could be comfortable in that house, I needed to speak to the woman in the house. So I, as the kid, because let's just be clear, whenever we're around our elders and it's something related to our experiences as younger kids, we are the kid in that situation, right? And so to a certain degree, we are due the respect of you not looking at me like an adult when I address this situation, but look at me like, as long as I'm respecting that way, like the kid kind of in that situation, right? Because I'm the one that was done wrong. I'm the one that's due this explanation or this respect. And especially if I'm the one or you're the one that can address it as now the adult or even the kid addressing it to the older person, that older person should give a level of respect and humility to me that's out of this world to that child, because it took a lot for that child to come to you, and they shouldn't have had to come to you. But since they did, respect them as such and really hear out what they have to say. It's not the time for you to explain your side unless they ask before they're done talking. Cut them off, tell them what didn't happen. It's not the time for any of that, because if you wanted to control the narrative, then you would have to be the one to bring up that conversation, right? You would, because if that's what you wanted, you would have addressed it, but you didn't, and they did. So now let them get it out. And here's what I will also ask for: a little bit of patience, right? So sometimes, and I know especially in certain cultures, it's like, I'm the adult no matter what, you need to respect me. I believe that in certain situations, you have to put that hat down because you didn't earn that hat in that area. And only in like maybe the first time, right? So if they come in going off is what I'm trying to say. No, it's not the most respectful thing, but in that time, they're so emotional, they're so upset. Like, give them a pass that time. Do they get to do it every time or even another time after that? I would say no. That's how I feel. I would say no, but at least that first time that they're trying to get it out, let them say it however they need to, because that takes a lot of courage to be able to do that. And you know that it must have been a lot bottled up in them for them to really feel like, I have to do this and I have to do this right now type of thing. So anywho, I pulled her, I asked her if I could talk to her. Surprisingly, she was like, sure. So just me and her went in the room, and I asked a question. I checked myself because that's what I wanted to do. I really felt like in that moment I was representing my mom, because I could remember when I was younger and my stepmom would call talking to my mom, you know, that Shirley conversation, except for he was nobody's husband. But anyway, and my mom would just be like, I remember this one time her sitting at the kitchen table talking to my stepmom, and at that time she wasn't my stepmom yet, but talking to her and like being so calm and patient with her and like answering her questions, which was more about herself, because she wasn't, to my knowledge, she wasn't being like disrespectful to my mom. It was more so like, why don't this happen to you? Why does he treat you like this, but not like treat me like that or whatever? And I remember my mom having that conversation. And I mean, sitting, I think it was a Friday night. Like, I could literally remember it so vividly. She had just got her hair done and everything, because I love when my mom got her hair done, but I digress. You know, talking to her, asking questions that you would generally hear like these days, a girl talking to their girlfriend about, or their friend about, but I guess she had questions and wanted to ask them. So in that moment, I felt like, because I was shown how to like, I don't want to say behave, because if you do it different, that doesn't mean you're not behaving. I was shown how to remain calm and think about everything while I'm addressing the situation, right? So yes, this is something that hurt me really bad, because I never had that relationship with my dad. Not one birthday party, Christmas, nothing, and wasn't at their wedding, like all of that. I never had any of that. But in that time, I felt like it was just so important for me to show how my mom raised me, and that I was paying attention, you know? I don't know why, but I just really felt like that was important to me. I'm gonna use Jaclyn Hill's palette, but which one is this? Oh, Bling Boss. In that particular instant, I felt like it was really important for me to show that, right? So, like my first question, I remember me being like, I sat next to her, we sat next to each other on the bed, and I actually held her hand. Number one, you just lost your husband. Whether he was a jerk or not, that's different, but you just lost your husband. So I held her hand and I was like, you know, I have a question, something that, you know, I've been wanting to know forever. What did I do to make you not like me? Why did you treat me like that? Like, I was a good kid. We didn't do anything. I didn't ask for nothing. Like, and that goes to show how much of a kid you are at that time, right? I was 30 something. I was at least 34, 35. In that moment, like, as I look back on the conversation, I was really tripping out. Like, you really sitting here still trying to make this lady believe, well, not this lady, my stepmom believe like you worth it. Like, why did you do this? Because you know how you have those, like, when the kid wants to be adopted and they're like, I'll clean my room, I'll do this, I'll do that, please just don't make me, please just don't leave me out type of thing. Which brought me to realizing why I have like abandonment issues, and I didn't like being left out at first. Now I don't take it personal at all, and I truly don't care. But in that moment, I had to forgive. In that moment, I learned a lot about myself and my ability to be the adult in the situation, but not lose sight of communicating that I am actually the kid in this situation. But the first thing that she started out with was an apology. That's the first thing she started out with. It was an apology, and it was, there is no excuse, but please forgive me. I was young. Just simply, I was young. I was young and not, I was mad at a situation, and instead of taking it on a situation, which was your dad, I took it out on, you know, you guys. And no, that wasn't okay. I apologize. You know, I wish those things didn't happen, right? So in that particular case, I got an apology. She decided to give more information and take ownership. So in that particular situation, I got to see what the strength of forgiveness will do. At this time, I didn't even know that she had cancer. So she was going through something herself. So just imagine if I would have went in there with like, well, I guess you are entitled to be upset because you were the kid. If I would have went in there because of the person that I am. If I would have went in there with like this attitude, like, I don't care, you owe me an apology, you owe me this, how dare you, like the blame, the you, and then to find out not only are you about to bury your husband very young, you know, because I consider 40, 50, 60 young, but you are also going through something where you need somebody to just love on you, you know, even in the midst of being what we would think is a villain, you still need to be, there's still things that you need, right? I would have felt terrible if I would have, you know, walked in and been disrespectful or not approached the situation okay. But in that moment, God told me to just forgive. God told me to forgive, and he told me to address the situation. And before I pull up somewhere, when I know it's something like that, I always ask him to guide my words, because when you're walking up to a situation like that, or a situation like that is presented, no matter how calm and collected other people think you are, and you're really good at addressing situations or blah, 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 your heart is going 156,000 miles per hour. You're trying to think of what to say and how you're going to say it. And you kind of like role play in your head, like, okay, I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to do it like this. If they say this, then I'm going to say this. You really think about all of the situations that could happen when you're a communicator like me. You think of what could happen so that you could kind of be prepared, and nothing, and you know, if it goes bad, it won't knock the breath out of you, right? But you definitely, I will say, these type of situations, forgiving before I talk to the person helps me, if that makes sense. So whether you respond right or I get what I need out of the situation, the conversation is to my attempt as now an adult to preserve a relationship. To preserve a relationship, especially in a space where you're family, so you're kind of not going anywhere, right? You're gonna see this person again. You do care about that person and their well-being. You just may not be besties, right? But you still care because it's your family, and family is forever. Like I told you guys, if there is a husband and wife in our family, if you bring them in, now they're a part of the family. So they don't just go away because if you get a divorce, you know, or you separate or something like that. They don't go away. They're still part of the family. So those conversations need to be had, but forgiveness is a huge piece of it. And it's really for you. It really is, because at the end of the day, what I don't like about some other situations that I've been in, when I let my hurt mouth talk for me, they not gonna do this to me, my corporate America beats me up enough, they say they love me, they not finna get away with that, they don't pay me, so I don't have to do this for them. That mouth, thank God for deliverance. That mouth hasn't represented me well. Did it feel good? I'm not gonna lie. Yes, it did. It felt amazing, because I had so many bottled up things that made me mad that I let people get away with, that when it did come to the person that actually got my mouth, I felt like, well, if I've warned you 80 million thousand times that I'm going through things, and please just leave me alone, and you don't, then you deserve whatever I say to you. Do I feel like that today? In full transparency, sometimes I do. I'm human, because nobody wants to be bothered like that. So do I feel like that? Yes. So some of the things that I have put into place based on like Bible reading, listening to self-help, best practices and things like that, is the power of forgiveness. And I never really understood what that meant. It was like, okay, you did something, I forgive you. But the forgiveness that I'm talking about happens before you even work it out, if that makes sense, right? So I didn't even talked to you yet. I have no clue what you about to say to me, what you about to do, how you about to flash back. I don't have no clue about none of that. But my spirit has told me already, Asia, forgive him before you walk in here. Forgive him before you walk in here, because that will change your tone, which may help with their body language, right? Because let's just face it, whether a lot of people at different times, I'll even say that because I think everybody does, you don't want to hear negative things about yourself, especially when you're sincerely trying not to do those certain things, right? You just want to hear how well you're improving or what you did right in the situation. You don't necessarily want to hear what you did wrong, especially when that's not your intent and you're working so hard. Is that okay? And you're working really hard at doing the right thing, right? But the reality is you're gonna have to. So if you could forgive before you walk in, I think it makes that communication a little bit different. I think that's what they mean by forgiveness is for you. Is that what they mean by forgiveness is for you? Oh man, I'm gonna need to call my cousin. Because I need to know if that's what they mean when they say the forgiveness is for you. I wonder if that's it. Well, in any case, one thing I do love to learn is new ways to be better, new ways to move forward, new ways to be the leader that I want to see, and to show the people around me, not just the youth around me, but the people around me, that certain things are possible, right? Because I was a little firecracker. I was. So I think that when people look at me, they probably like, dang, if she could stay this calm and go through that, then maybe I could try. You know, I think that that's the case. That was quick. Let me do my my mascara. And I know I had 80-50. Y'all ain't right. That was quick, and I like it too. It's this nose for me. It's so red too. Oh my gosh. But yes, that's the power of forgiveness. And the more that you forgive others, you'll forgive yourself as well too. Because I'm telling you, it's like a superpower. Like, it makes you feel really good about yourself when you make it through an entire conversation that you were just so nervous about. And I mean nervous to the point where you're like, I'm gonna throw up. Lord, please don't let him have to call the police. Lord, please don't let me get in no fight. Don't let this escalate. Don't let it get to the point where even if they, they're throwing daggers at me or they're poking at me, please let me stay in control. Guide my words. Stop me and let me breathe if I have to. Still let me defend myself and say the things that I need to say, but let me say it the right way, because at the end, what I actually want is for this to work. So if the end result is that I want this to work, I want things to get better going forward, I want to develop a new line of communication with this particular person for whatever the reason is, the goal is that I want this to work, right? Stop walking into situations where, oh, I'm gonna tell them how I feel. Oh, they gonna learn today. What are they gonna learn? That you don't have no sense? Or are they gonna learn that, dang, no matter what I said, I couldn't pull their trigger. I didn't have no control over that conversation, only with what I said. Dang, I said all of those things. That really, how am I gonna fix this? Because now it stands out that I've cut up. So dang it, now I gotta fix it. At the worst, if that's the worst that can happen, at least you did your part. And now you got somebody else thinking also about how they can do better. Because some people that, they walk into conversations knowing that they came in to trigger and to antagonize and to cause confusion. And in those cases, the best thing to do is to not let them have any of those things. If you're talking about you want to be a leader, positive energy. You know, you wondering where your blessings are. They come from those places. Those places are where they come from. And sometimes I've had to forgive people that said they're sorry, and in the next minute, they're trying to antagonize me. Still today, they're trying to antagonize me, and I have to look past it. And I look past it really thinking about, well, they went through X, Y, and Z, or this is their fear. I remember when I had fear, and so my responses were not the best. I have to forgive still, right? Forgive and pray, because the end goal is you want things to turn out right. Learning how to forgive yourself. A reason why a lot of people can't forgive themselves also, I'm gonna stop saying a lot of people. The reason why people in some instances cannot forgive themselves or believe that others really forgive them and will move forward is because in a similar situation they acted different, or in a similar situation, you know, maybe talking about a situation with a family member or a friend or something like that. It was, if that was me, I would have did this. If that was me, I would have did that. And then when it came time for you to be human, and you are the one who actually did it, now you like, crap, I said all of this that I was gonna do. Oh no, not yet. Gotta sit under my eyes. I said all of this I was gonna do if somebody ever did that to me. How can this person really forgive me? They're gonna get me back, or this is a setup, or the worst for me is I don't deserve to be forgiven. First of all, none of us are God. So it depends on who it is and what the situation is. They should forgive you, but they're human too. The most important part of that is if you apologize for something and truly try to do better, the biggest part of that forgiveness circle is you. It's you. If you're really sorry and you believe what you said and you're doing your best, you have to forgive yourself, because sometimes your actions in that situation, in that type of situation too, is like a giveaway, right? The person might be looking at you like, how you want me to forgive you? And I noticed that you don't even forgive you. Look at the way you moving. You can't possibly forgive yourself. You don't even believe what you just told yourself. How many times have you looked at somebody and thought, oh, let me go? No, not thought that. How many times have you looked at yourself and thought, wait a minute, I don't even believe this about me yet. Like, let me check myself, because this is an area of opportunity for me. That happens, right? You really sit back and think about it, and you like, dang, it's gonna take a minute for me to forgive myself for that. It shouldn't, but it's reality. Depends on how bad it was that you really disappoint yourself sometimes. You do. So not only others can disappoint you, you can disappoint yourself too. And let's normalize making that okay too. Identifying that you've disappointed yourself. Nobody's perfect. But what I have noticed lately is the reason why some people can't forgive themselves is because when they were on the other side of that, or knew somebody on the other side of that, they posted so much to Facebook or talked so much that they like, where was that post where I said that? Let me take it down. And it's okay, because guess what? We grow every day. We learn all the time. In those situations where I have said things like, I always say think though. But anyway, I don't think I could ever deal with that. That is crazy. Or I would never do that. I wonder what made that happen, you know, because you got questions. In those particular situations, if I run into the answer because I've experienced it, and I mean run into the answer like a brick wall, I just like, oh. And then the next thing you'll see from me is usually a post, or, you know, if I posted about it before, I don't have a problem posting my aha moment. If it's my business and, or something anonymous somebody said I could share and just don't give their name. But yeah, I don't have a problem saying those aha moments. I don't have pride in that way. Because it's teachable. And it's also an opportunity to let people see you be human. I don't have all the right answers. I don't know everything. All I share is what I've been through thus far, what I, have practiced, that's all that I could do. I don't owe nobody nothing, because nobody but my mom and my husband. My mom brought me here. My husband, I have vows with. So until death do us part, I had those vows. And with my mom as well, because she brought me here. And she do a good job too. She earned her role. She earned her respect. She earned her roses. She earned her she still got her edges too. So she owe me a little bit. No, that's not how that worked. I feel like that's how it worked. She owe me too. I gave her her edges back in her old her elder in her elder years. Ooh, and kids, realize your parents gonna have to forgive you for some stuff too. And parents, let's normalize forgiving your kids too, because your kids, woo, they could send you on a spiral. Asia, how do you know you haven't birthed no kids? Because I raised them. That's why. That is why. There's plenty of people out there that birth kids and can't tell you nothing about them. And how about what if I would have adopted them? Then would you call me any less of a mom? You wouldn't. Or how about I have a whole nonprofit, hence me sitting here right now. I'm helping raise y'all kids right now. You welcome. You welcome. But anywho, yeah, normalize forgiving. Because guess what? We really are all on this journey together. It's going to be something new and exciting around every corner. It's okay to be transparent and share your experiences. If there is something that you're too proud to share, so be it. I can't tell you that you are required to share it, but if you want to, I think you should. I think you should, because it will help somebody. I really learned a lot from what people share with me, just for me to talk about on this show and record about or implement into Divine Purpose or the Queen TT part. And I'll actually be expanding into Melanin Madam as a YouTube and blog. I'll actually be expanding into that area, but that will be more for, that's the moms and the dads and the aunts. That's the grown and sexy age. So that's not for my high school getting ready to go into college like this channel is. Now, if you a parent already, or you married at 18 or whatever, then it would apply to you. I'm going to talk about things as it relates to my journey through marriage thus far, sharing not only my stories, I've been collecting stories from others. I've been posting various questions on Facebook to ask some questions, and gotten some really good feedback. I mean, really good feedback. So that's what that channel will be about. Because if my main purpose in Divine Purpose is to help our youth and their families, then my brand, I have a brand. I'm such a grown up. My brand will extend out. It really will. And I'm here for it, and I'm ready. But enough about Melanin Madam. I'll actually do a whole show talking about that brand a little bit later. It's set to launch in September. Yeah, set to launch in September. So after you put all of this powder on your face, you turn around and put a little more powder. Anything wet you must set, right? So I set this area with the it's actually not a color, it's translucent, transparent, trans fat, you know what I mean. Now I'm gonna use my MAC to set the other areas so I don't look like a shiny globetrotter. Okay. you know, a lot of my best experiences, now they weren't good when I was going through them. I'm not even gonna lie. Some of my friendships were actually began with forgiveness. One of my best friends from elementary, we met having a fight. And while we was bored waiting for the principal, we made up. Just sitting there bored, like, so since we're sitting here, why don't we talk? Because this is boring. And we did. And that is one of the people that I cherish the very most now. And that was, what did I say? 4th grade? Something like that. 3rd or 4th grade. And then come to find out our families knew each other. They would have beat us up if they knew we was fighting. All kind of stuff. See how God saves you ahead of time? Because probably had they found out we was fighting before we made up, we'd have probably got a whooping for that. Because where I'm from, you have each other's back. You don't do stuff like that. So yeah, we'd have probably been in trouble, even though we didn't even know that we knew each other yet. But yeah, that's the way that would have went. Yeah, a lot of, I wonder if, and I think God tests you too. Well, they say God don't test you, but I think you do, because he sends you through certain experiences to see how you're going to make it through, right? So I also believe that if you're going through something and you keep going through the same exact thing, I think that you're not learning the lesson, or it's a different lesson he needs you to learn, because pressure builds diamonds and all that other stuff they say. Then you have to actually go through something to get through the other side, right? You really do. So even in my darkest situations where I really had to pray to forgive, I had to think like, my Q-tips are right here. I had to think like, is this something I'm supposed to be learning in this, or what am I supposed to get out of this? And one of the lessons that I learned recently about myself is that don't do this. A situation that I was going through, or am still going through, I had to decide if the relationship or the benefit was worth the fight. Because in my yeah, that's good. Before, if there was a situation that I didn't like, I would leave the situation, right? It's just that simple. But in business, in certain relationships, commitments, things like that, that's not an option. That's not the grown-up answer at all. It's not. Just think about it this way. If you can't let some things go, move and like forgive and things like that, when you make the mistake that you make, let's just say at your job, when you make the mistake you make at your job, and now you really need forgiveness, you need them to understand that's, you know, I'm sorry, whatever the case may be, and they're not willing to do it, and they look at you like, nope, one and done. If you should have did it this way, you should have did this, you should have did that. That's when that mess is, that's when it's going to hit the fan. That's when you're going to get to see it the most, and how you should not have done that to others. It's really going to stick out. It really is. Because that's when you're going to need the forgiveness. Isn't it crazy how people don't really see things until it's something that they need? Then you want somebody to just look at you and be like, oh, they're so sad, they're sorry about what they did, so, you know, guys, let's just don't be hard on this person. I told y'all I wasn't fixed all the way yet. See how that happened just that quick? My eyes done rolled and everything. Just a mess. Yeah, I don't exactly I don't exactly, I don't know what to call it. I don't exactly have any excuses for that type of person anymore. They've been burned out. I've had to do it too much. And I know somebody's gonna be like, well, God does it every day for you. I ain't Jesus. That's another thing people need to realize too. You wanna sit here and be mad at somebody for not forgiving or moving as quickly as you do, which you can't do. You gotta give them time to process some things depending on what it is. And then they wanna say something like, well, Jesus, and Jesus also didn't need forgiveness like that because he didn't do those type of things. So if you want to talk about it, start at the top. He didn't even need all of this. Y'all play too much. But yeah, everybody, ain't nobody Jesus. Ain't nobody Jesus. And we don't have that same skill set. So if somebody can't exactly jump right on board, you don't get to what is that called? You don't get to judge them because they're not ready yet. Just work on them, pray on it, continue to show. Show and prove is sometimes what is needed, right? So the person, they want to forgive you. They want to believe that you forgive them. But sometimes they need time because it's some people that their own parents walked away from them in certain situations, right? It's certain people that have loved somebody with their whole everything, and they made one mistake, and that's the person that treated them like dirt, and they didn't expect that at all. It really surprised them and threw them for a loop. So everything isn't about your experience with that person either, although it sounds kind of interesting because you want to be treated in a relationship, sisterhood, best friends, husband, wife, whatever. You want to be judged and categorized or whatever based on your level of effort, what you've actually done. You don't want to be held accountable for somebody else's mess up. But in our normal makeup, that's not the way it works. It just doesn't all the time. Sometimes it does, but if a person is a baby forgiver or a baby calm down person, it's gonna take them a minute. And if you love them enough, and that's what you want to do, and you're in a place where you can offer that type of support, then go ahead and do it. If you're not in a place to offer that level of support, then that's a conversation. That's a conversation. I done lost my nose ring. Then that's a conversation where you probably have to tell that person, I don't have that level of forgiveness yet, or help me I think with forgiveness it should be more of help me. If you're willing to consider it, then that means you guys have a strong enough relationship, or they didn't do something super bad, like clear out your bank account, burn your house down. There's levels to forgiveness too, because some things you could forgive, but you just don't ever want anything to do with that person again. And that's your right. But when that happens to you, be comfortable with that being somebody else's right with you, because none of us are perfect. So for the rest of our life, it's a couple of things that's gonna be true. We always gonna be apologizing, and we always gonna be forgiving somebody. We just are, because we're human. And even if it's not intended, it could happen. You could set out with the best intentions, thinking you just the most amazing person ever, only to find out you actually been completely headed down the wrong path. And you just have to say, in those instances, I don't know about saying I'm sorry, because you didn't technically do anything wrong, but it could be more along the lines of, I wish it would have gone differently, or I wish it was received differently, or can we learn how to communicate going forward so that if it's something you don't like right away, you can tell me and I could fix it. I feel very 11th, 12th grade year with this on, because I remember a gold like this that I used to wear. And baby, you couldn't tell me nothing. And I think it was the same brand too. You couldn't tell me nothing. And I think I paid $1 for it. Okay, I did everything, I think. Do I want to wear, I don't want to wear blush. Or do I? Do I want to wear blush? Let's see. Okay, we're going to go with Watch Me Blush. And my Judy brush. I just wanted to use my Judy brush. Let's see. I've been seeing people use like orange, but I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna try to use it. It's tangerine. Let's see what it does for me. I have an orange face already. Let's see. See, it didn't do nothing for me. Well, I can see it in the camera, I guess. I don't know. We'll see, child. It worked for me. So, why do we forgive, kids? We forgive because we want to be forgiven. We forgive because it's better for us. We forgive because we communicate better when we forgive. We forgive because we learn to forgive ourselves when we forgive, which also leads to a healthy life, because there are going to be a lot of situations where you're going to have to say, I'm sorry. And you're going to want people to receive it and believe you too. Hopefully the more we learn and grow, we stop having to say it as much, right? Because at least we don't do the same things over. But until then, let's normalize. Isn't that what you young people say? Let's normalize saying I'm sorry and I mean it. Okay? And let's also normalize believing that people can forgive you too. No matter how bad you think something is, if they forgive you, they forgive you. And like my mom taught me, if you forgive somebody, you don't bring it up over and over to hurt them. If you want to have a discussion about it, or like you have more questions, that's okay. But to bring it up, you did this, and since you did this, I feel like I could do this. That's not forgiveness. It's not. That's called like acceptance, so I can get you back. I don't know. But anyway, that is it for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed sitting with me while I do my makeup before I leave. I sat down early, but I can almost guarantee you I'm still late. Probably. That's it. Goodbye, butterflies. Goodbye. Goodbye, butterflies. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Wow.